I cannot believe it took me like 8 months to realize that I was knitting socks wrong. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Elyssa, and if you're new here, I like to make knitting podcasts. I love to do things related to sewing and crochet as well as knitting, and honestly a lot of things with fiber arts. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, well, hello, welcome. Come check out the channel. I have lots of other videos as well. And definitely leave me a like and a comment down below, and welcome back everybody. So I have something to share. I cannot believe myself, honestly. I have been knitting for over a year, and I've been knitting socks since like November, I believe is when, November of 2022. It's currently May, mid-May of 2023, and I've just realized that I've been knitting socks wrong pretty much my whole life of knitting. So like the last, what, 8 months, 6 months? I don't know, I don't feel like doing the math. But anyway, I figured I would share with you what I have so terribly made a mess of. But before I do that, let me show you my finished objects. I have two that I am super proud of. So the first one is I finished the second coral reef sock. So I shared this in my last podcast. These are the socks that I had knit for my mother for Mother's Day, which I'm literally about to wrap them up and go give them to her today. It's currently Friday, so I'm gonna give it to her a little bit early. But this is the final outcome, and I have both of them. I obviously still need to snip that, and that one, I guess. They're all weaved in, I just haven't snipped them. But they've been blocked and they are so nice. Look at how pretty that pattern is. So it's a really cool pattern, and you get like a coral kind of design or effect using different increasing and decreasing methods. Let me show you what it looks like from the front. And you kind of get just like a really similar to like a coral reef kind of design. I don't know, I find it really cool. My mom really liked them, so I can't wait to give them to her. And I had knit this with Cascade Yarns Heritage, I believe is what it was. It's their merino wool sock base, so it's 75% wool, 25% polyamide. And I knit both of these with the same method of magic loop. I prefer magic loop for all of my socks. I just tend to do best with that. I don't really have a set, well, I do have DPNs, but I don't really have a sock size set of DPNs. And yeah, so these were just a ribbed heel flap, so there wasn't any slip stitching, which is what I typically do. So it's just ribbed for the heel flap, and then just some shaping for the heel turn, and then knitting as normal, and then in pattern. And I hope I made these the right size. I'll find out soon enough. I know my mother has slightly larger feet than me, so I just kind of referenced off of that, and I hope that they're large enough, but I honestly hope they're a little bit too small compared to too big, because they'll grow, but they won't necessarily shrink. I mean, I guess you could throw it in the dryer. Please don't do that, Mom, if you're watching. Please don't do that, because I don't want to ruin the sock, but I don't know. I just hope that all in all that it's fine. She's good, she loves them, that they fit, and yeah, they're just this really cute, pretty pink color. And I actually had quite a bit left over. I don't know if I have it with me right now. I think it's sitting out in the front, but I think I weighed it and I had about like 11 or 12 so grams left, so not bad. But yeah, so that is my first finished object. I cannot wait to give this to her. I think she's going to absolutely love them, and I hope she cherishes them. And I cannot believe that I am actually gifting socks. I made something to give, guys. And I am a selfish knitter, so Now, the second finished object are another pair of knitted socks by me, and these are my own pattern, my own design. I even wrote it up, guys, and I actually have it already linked on my channel. I already have it linked on my channel as well. I made a full-on video tutorial for you guys as well as a written pattern. So if you like how these look and you want to try sock knitting or just in general, feel free to go check out that video. These, I don't remember what they called them. I will put it on the screen. But yeah, so these are the socks that I knit for my mother-in-law. So Andrea is gonna love them. She asked for Minnesota Wild themed, and this is what I came up with. And they are on cashmere base, and I have just been absolutely loving how they feel. I want some for myself so bad. I even told my husband, so I held these side by side, and I was like, I want to show you the difference between wool and cashmere. So I had him feel this, and he was like, wow, that's really soft compared to this. Like, don't get me wrong, merino wool is still soft, and these don't feel scratchy at all. But this is like a different level of soft, and I mean, don't get me wrong, cashmere is expensive, and hand-dyed cashmere is expensive. But look how cute they are, and like, I love the variegations. I'm so happy about these. It was a pain in the butt to finish, and I actually have a funny story. Okay, so even though these are a finished object, I messed up on my sock when I was knitting it. I don't remember which one, but one of them. The first one that I did. And I had my stitch count wrong. I thought I did all my decreases, but I did not. And I wasn't about to go and like, I had already finished the foot. I wasn't about to go and undo it because I just wanted to be done. I'm ready to knit for myself again, and I had spent the last like 3 weeks knitting socks for them. So I just did like rapid decreases. I think it's this one. I did rapid decreases here, so I have some extra decreases, and then I also did a little bit more decreases on the toe. So I think I had like 8 stitches too many throughout the foot. So it might be a little bit wide of a foot, but I think it'll be fine. So I had originally knit, okay, the first pair of socks I ever knit were too small for me, and I didn't feel like I didn't feel like taking out the toe at the time. Now looking back that I've already done that for a few of my socks, I think I would have been fine. And I think I would have also liked to have had that first pair that I ever knit because, you know, memories. Instead, I asked my mother-in-law if they fit her because she has smaller feet than me. And she's like, yes, they fit. They like fit really well. And so I asked her a little bit later, like, how well do those fit? Like, are you telling me the truth? Are you just trying to be nice? And she's like, no, they fit really well. So I knew what size to make her. So I tried to go for that. And originally, when I knit it, I thought I was doing the same thing I did before, but it ended up fitting my foot perfectly, and I was like, it's not even blocked yet, so that's wrong. So I had to take back, I think I took back like 8 rows or so, so like half an inch maybe 3/4 inch. I frogged back and then continued on. So like now they're pretty even, and they're a little bit small on me, so I think they'll fit her perfect after blocking. And yeah, I'm so happy with how these turned out, and like I said, they're really, really soft. I cannot believe how amazing cashmere is to work with. And I have so much left over. This is what I have still. I could get myself my own pair if I wanted, and I probably will, because why would I waste cashmere socks? I am gonna take out this middle part though, because I need to look at the care instructions here. The only gripe that I had with this yarn was how much it bled. I rinsed this so much. So I did a eucalyptus wash, which is typically what I do with my finished projects that are wool and like natural fiber. I did a eucalyptus wash with it, and man, was that like, I had to completely empty out the water in my sink like 3 or 4 no, it was more than that. It was like 7 times to get it to not, I still couldn't even get it to not be clear. Like, there was so much green dye coming out, and I was really worried that it was gonna like bleed through, which is why I didn't want to soak this for too long. I barely let it soak, and I kept rinsing and I kept ringing. Like I would do like, not ringing, I would never ring, but I would like squeeze it and it just, the dye was endless. And I was like, I can't do this forever. I don't have the patience for that. So I'm gonna tell her like, hand wash it for the first few times until it stops being green. So that way you don't get your other clothes green. But yeah, I knit this with the green base. Whoa. I knit this with Dreamy, wait, no. It's Dream in Smooshy Cashmere. So that's what the green base is. And then the red and the white are both just Cascade Heritage Superwash Merino. The same base that I made these in. And I'm obsessed, guys. I am obsessed. Look, this is where I weaved in one of the ends. I need to pull that back out because it's showing through. Okay, so this one is 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, and 10% nylon. 20% cashmere is a pretty good amount of cashmere, if you ask me. Like, this, you can tell, is just a different level of softness, and I'm like obsessing. Okay, but okay, so it says hand wash, setting, lay flat to dry. So she could wash it in the washer, just make sure it's on the wool setting or hand wash setting, and then just do not put it in the dryer. So I need to remember to tell her that, otherwise she might not have these forever, and I would be so sad if this, I would be so sad. I'm not even gonna say it. But yeah, so this is, I mean, it bled so much, but the color is still just as strong. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh my gosh, these are so cute, guys. So yes, that was my happy little finished objects. I'm so excited to be done knitting socks. I don't think I'm picking up socks until the fall again. That's not true. I might knit a pair during sock week, but I hope that's a ways away still. I think it's in June. Oh my gosh, June's in like 2 weeks. It's in 3 weeks. I need to calm down. But still, I'm like so ready to knit for myself. I don't even have any whips right now, guys, but I probably will soon. I'm gonna record this first part of the podcast today, and then I'll probably pick back up later in the week and record the other half. I just really wanted to show you guys the socks before I give them off. And with that being said, I need to now tell you how I've been knitting socks wrong for the last X amount of months that I have been knitting socks. So when I first went to the knitting store to pick up my first pair of sock needles, I remember specifically doing a little bit of research, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for something magic loop, and I'm gonna do metal needles just because I wanted to try them rather than, I've only really had a bamboo set. So I was like, okay, I want metal needles. And of course, what better than ChiaoGoo? And this is, I just can't believe myself, guys. I need to find where I put my labels. One sec. Okay. So I typically knit with the ChiaoGoo needles with the twists, the red twist lace interchangeables, and I usually use their infamous red lace cable. So here is one of them that I have here. Here's another one that I bought. These are my these ones. These ones are my 2.25. And that is the mini cable. I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but I've been knitting with the wrong needle size for socks forever. I've only knit one pair of socks with this 2.25, and they were a really nice, tight gauge. I loved them. I still love them. They're my best fitting pair. These are a size 3.0 millimeter. These are a US 2.5. So I went to the yarn store and I asked her for, what I thought I asked her was for a 2.5 millimeter. I prefer to go off of the millimeter sizes rather than the US size because it's very precise. I know exactly what that size is, whereas like on here, US 2.5, that number really doesn't mean anything other than the knitting needle. Whereas this, I know it's like, okay, the diameter of the stitch is 2.5 millimeters. It's just more precise for me. But, and I see a lot more patterns that use the actual metric system. But these, guys, look at this. I don't know if you can tell what the actual needle says. I'm gonna try my best to show you. I might have to zoom in, so don't mind me. Okay, we're gonna zoom in. Do you see that? Can you read that? It says CHOGU US 2.5 3mm needle. I can't. I can't believe I didn't notice that. And I even bought a second one on Amazon because I had originally bought the wrong cable, and I wanted a cable that would match my minis. So I needed to buy a mini cable, but I only had bought a second of the medium cable, or this, I think it's the small cable. So I was like, okay, well, let me go buy a second needle because I use these anyway. And instead of buying another 2.5mm, I bought another 2.5 US. So that's how I've been knitting socks wrong. I've been knitting them so loose. I don't know if maybe you're an expert sock knitter and like you can tell that the gauge is really loose. I mean, this is just all I've ever knit for. But like, I remember thinking to myself like, wow, that's such a big difference in needle sizes. Like this is a 2.25 again, compared to the compared to the 3mm. Like I was like, wow, that's such a big size for it being like a needle size up. No, it's because it's 3 needle sizes. My goodness, when I realized it, it's because I wanted to double check what the US size for a 2.5mm was. I wanted to look it up to put it on the pattern that I wrote for these. But guess what, guys? That's when I realized I'd been knitting with the 3mm needle. And that was a shocker. I was not happy about that. I remember like sitting down and telling my husband like, I have been lying to myself this whole time and I've knit socks wrong. And he actually laughed when I told him. Anyway, the socks have turned out fine. Like they're still useful, they still function. They're just a little bit of a looser gauge, and I cannot wait to knit good fitting socks that are nice and tight and like actually feel what a sock is supposed to feel like. But at least I already have 3mm for when I start making my fingering garments in the summer. I thought I was gonna need to buy some. I do not. I did order an actual 2.5mm needle, so I'm very excited to knit with that. But again, I'm not picking up socks for a while. I'm ready to be done with socks, gift these, not think about socks for another month, and happily enjoy things for myself. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and pause for today. That's what I have, my finished objects. That's my little rant on knitting socks wrong my whole life. I still like cannot believe myself, and I call myself a knitter. I don't know, guys. I don't know anymore. Everything's a lie. No, not really. I just find it hilarious. But yes, I will pick back up with you guys in probably a week, maybe a couple days, but obviously it'll still be one video for you. Just know that it's a little bit in the future, and maybe I've started a project. We'll see. Anyways, I'll see you then. Hey guys, it is a new day and I'm finishing the other half of my podcast. So I'm pretty sure I just talked about the socks that I was knitting for my mother and my mother-in-law, and I have already given it to them, and now it's later in the week and I finally have some time to sit down and record the other fun half of my podcast. So it went well. They loved them. They fit, thankfully. And I had to part with some very wonderful cashmere socks. But I've told myself that I'm going to knit myself a pair for myself. I need to. Cashmere is so nice and wonderful to work with. So I cannot wait to explore that. And I think it would be a fun video to do like a make along with me in a sense. Not necessarily hosting a make along because I should be more active on Instagram to do that, but just sort of like a vlog style. So I'll have to see if that comes to fruition or not. Anyway, let's jump in. It's been forever, it feels like, since I've filmed the podcast. I've been doing tutorials. I've been doing a side of like rearrange my area with me, which I don't know if I'll even post that video, but I kind of made a new backdrop here, and I have all of my yarn organized below me in cubbies, and I have my sewing machine and some fun stuff. So I also have a really nice desk that is a mess right now because I'm also filming an unravel a thrifted sweater slash cardigan with me. So there's a lot of stuff going on over here in Elyssa's world. The first thing after the finished objects that I had at the beginning of the video are my whips, which I only have one right now, but that's okay because it is absolutely breathtaking. I am so happy I found this pattern, and I am so happy that it's working with my yarn, and I love this so much, guys. Okay, so this is the Luna tee. So it is going to be a warm weather type of shirt. It's a tee and it's raglan style. So you have some really nice increases here that you can sort of see. It's a very variegated yarn that I'm using with. I just want to talk about all of it. So let me first pull up the designer because I need to be better about doing that. This is the Luna tee by Carissa, and it is just an absolutely beautiful and elegant, very, very gorgeous tee. And there's just so many beautiful features of the design. I just absolutely love it. It's so stunning to me. And I am using some very special yarn on it, and it's just everything I want and more. I am obsessed. Okay, so this is a raglan style type of construction. So I'm doing raglan. I did my raglan increases here, and then obviously I have sleeves for both ends, and then there is a little bit of shaping after the raglan increases for the back neck to raise it. And this is just a dream. I didn't want to put the stitches on hold because when I did that with my Lanark sweater, it was really difficult to pick them back up because the yarn was so thin and like they kind of fold in on each other, and yes, they're still on the scrap yarn, but like they kind of turn inside out and it's just a little bit of a pain to fix. So I was like, I'm just gonna keep them on my needles for now, some extra cable. These are like size 3.5 millimeters that I just had there as like stoppers. And then this side also is just some Chowgu needles. I think these are size 3.0, which funny because I just talked about how I thought they were size 2.5 millimeter. Anyway, I'm just using the cable to keep them all together. And it's just stunning. I love the way that this is like a gradient, and you can really tell here like it's a lot darker, and then it turns into like this really pretty like sunset orangish color, and then it's just getting lighter, and it's just sort of fading, but like very beautifully. I cannot believe how wonderfully this is knitting up, and I love it. So it's in a broken rib pattern, which I haven't done broken rib before, but I really like how it's looking. I think it's like enough of a difference to not get super bored with just straight ribbing, but also not get like tired of purling, you know, because nobody likes to purl. But it's coming out really, really well, and here I'll do a little bit closer. You can really see how that beautiful color is. I'm just obsessed with this yarn and this pattern, and I think it's beautiful, and like I'm working the decreases to have it more tapered, and it's just gorgeous. Let me show you what it's supposed to look like once you've gotten to the part. So here's just a little bit of what, like how beautifully that design is done to just look so elegant and seamless, and I love it, guys. I'm absolutely loving knitting this, and I'm loving the way it's turning out, and I'm so happy. Like, this is just flying. I wish it could go faster, but also like I've never enjoyed knitting on something so much. It is so soft, and I feel like it's gonna be a really great summer. It feels super lightweight and super breathable. I just can't wait. I mean, I was a little bit sus with having kind of like a mock turtle. It's not really a mock turtle. I don't really know what the type of neckline is called. I should. Maybe it's in the pattern. I should reread the description. But it's just high enough, I think, where it like could be classified as sort of a mock turtle. But I love it, and I learned a few different skills. So I had to do a tubular cast on, which I wasn't expecting it to, well, I knew it was part of the description, but I just wasn't expecting to do it so quickly. I knew it's a skill that I wanted to learn in the future, but I had the opportunity to do it with this pattern, and I don't think I did it perfect. I mean, it still looks fine, like I wouldn't question it, but I think it could have been better. I don't really know what it's supposed to look like. And then I was also a little bit confused because I originally did it for 1x1, but then I saw like to modify it for 2x2, which is what this pattern is knit in. It's in 2x2 broken rib. And I don't know, it's a little bit funny, but maybe not. Maybe that's just me. And it also could even out after blocking, which I'm sure a lot of it will. I am so excited to see this thing blocked, and typically I tend to really like block the bejesus out of it in a sense. I block it in every type of direction. I'm a very like pro heavy on the blocking, but I don't think I'm gonna do that with this shirt because it is in a ribbing style. I don't want to overstretch it. I think keeping it really relaxed will help give a really nice look, in my opinion, but we'll see what happens. I am knitting it in the size 3, which could be a good or bad thing. I think I made it deep enough for the arm. I know it's not showing right now, but like it tends to shrink up on itself. I'm pretty sure I made it deep enough for the arms, but I'm not sure, like 100% sure on it. And I also was very skeptical because I didn't want to run out of yarn. Like, this is it. If I am out of yarn by the end of this, this is all I have. This was a one-off skein. This is the Arizona yarn that I picked up, and I love it so much. I wish I bought the second skein, but at the same time, I know that would have been way too much for this anyway. But I just love this yarn so much, and it's so beautiful. Like, I just couldn't think you could make it more beautiful with this gradient, and this is what I have left. It's about 108 grams. I just weighed it, and I think when I started the body, there was about like 118 grams. So about 10 grams got me pretty much like this far. So I'm assuming I'm going to probably use another 20 grams on the body, possibly 30, which would leave me with like 70-ish grams to finish the sleeves. And that should be enough, like fingers crossed, but it doesn't always work out that way. And I think I'm like a little more than a third of the way done with the body. I think I have like 6 or, no, not 6. I have like 5 more decrease rounds that I need to do. So I think it's getting there. It's obviously just coming beneath my chest here. So I probably have like, I don't know, like another 10 inches probably. We'll see. I'm like nervous because I don't want to play yarn chicken with this, but it also called for like just enough. I think I originally bought 650 yards. Was it yards or meters? Okay, it was 650 yards, 6.5 ounces. I should really measure this in ounces. I'm so used to using grams because I think the metric system's better. But this was 650 yards, 6.5 ounces. And this is what I have left. Alexa, what is 108 grams to ounces?
108 grams is about 3.81 ounces.
Okay, so it's about 3.81 ounces, I think is what she said. So that means I am a little less than halfway. That's actually not bad. If this is a little less than half of what my whole yarn is, I think I'll be alright, guys. I think I will make it. As long as this isn't like freakishly small. I'm pretty sure it will block, or like grow when I block it. But I also didn't block my swatch. I measured my swatch and I got gauge, which was cool. But I was like, I don't want to waste any of my yarn. I need to save all of it because I just do. So yeah, I really hope that this works, guys. Like this is, you know, like if you think about it, this is a brand new skein of yarn, like about 100 grams is your average fingering weight. So that's what I'm hoping. Let me talk about this yarn. So this I got in Arizona on my Arizona trip. My husband and I went down for a race and we decided to go to the state parks there. So we went to the Grand Canyon. It was snowing, so we did not enjoy ourselves because we did not have the proper snow gear equipment despite living in Wisconsin. We wanted to go to the sun. Apparently northern Arizona is not a warm desert or a hot desert. So anyway, we went to the Grand Canyon and then we also went to the Petrified Forest, and we all went and stayed in Phoenix the last bit of our trip there because we had a race on Sunday. Well, my so wonderful husband decided to spoil me and take me to the yarn store, and that was probably the fastest I had shopped at a yarn store because I know his attention span and I was not going to make him wait in the car for half an hour while I'm being indecisive about 3 skeins in my hand. I knew I wanted to get a skein of yarn that like really reminded me of Arizona, that I'd see it and I'd know exactly what that was from and like just really be a characteristic of that state and that trip. And I saw this. It was beautiful. I was just absolutely breathtaken by it and loved it. Sent a quick picture to my husband like, does this scream Arizona to you? And he's like, absolutely. So I picked it up. This is the most expensive yarn I've ever bought. It is like a lot of yarn though, so it's like a skein and a half roughly. But it was $48 and it is I got it at Tempe Yarns, and I wanted something specifically local, so their employee there was really nice and showed me around really quick, gave me like the rundown of what to find and where, and I asked her if they had anything specifically local. And she showed me all the options. I went with the Dyelicious, which was the owner of the Tempe Yarns store. She has her own hand-dyed yarn line as well, and this was one of them. I also love the logo. But the Dyelicious yarns, and I did the Carefree Tencel, which is 75% superwash merino, 15% nylon, and 10% Tencel. And it's a fingering weight yarn, and I love it. It's a dream. It's so soft, and like I feel like it's gonna be perfect for summer. So I'm really excited to be working on this project. I love it so much. It's such a beautiful design, and I feel like this yarn is like, it's a perfect balance in my opinion between having a beautiful, intricate design that I love to work on, and then also showcasing this yarn. Like, the yarn speaks for itself and the design speaks for itself. I don't think one or the other overshadows each other. Maybe the camera doesn't do a good job of showing it, but to me in person, I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and like you can see both for what they are. So that is my Luna tea. I love her. I want to finish her, but I also never want this to end because I'm enjoying it so much. I can't wait. Hopefully it will be a finished object on the next podcast. Okay, so let me set that down. That is the only whip on the needles. I do have a whip, but it's not really the same type of whip. Let me show you. So I picked up this cardigan at the thrift store, and she is in the works of being deconstructed. I don't even know where the front is. Here's the front. Yeah, I already have a sleeve gone, which was like right here. And yeah, so here's kind of how she's looking now. And I am in the process of unraveling this. My goal was to unravel it for the make-along that Will Needles Hands podcast, Taylor from that podcast is hosting, and it was supposed to be like Earth Day themed and inspired, and it was supposed to really focus on like being resourceful and repurposeful in things that aren't new necessarily. So part of the stipulation was like you can get a thrifted item and unravel it and use it to get yarn that way. You can get yarn from stash, you can get yarn from a sweater that you don't wear anymore that you want to remake. And I chose the thrifted yarn way, and I was specifically looking for this for a while, but I just never was lucky. Every time I went to the thrift store, I just couldn't find what I was looking for. And then I found this, and I want to make a bag with it, and I think this will be really good for it. It's kind of like a nylon, I feel like. A nylon and a cotton, and it's super, super stretchy. I don't actually know because the label was cut out. I don't actually know what it is, but it's very, very stretchy, and it's got really, really strong stitch definition. Like, it's very stretchy. I'm pretty sure it's some sort of nylon. It could be polyester, but I'm thinking more nylon. And it's just a regular garter stitched. No, this isn't even garter stitch. This is just regular stockinette in a loose gauge, which is why you can see it so defined. So I'm in the middle of unraveling it, which has been fine. I have the button band done, and here's the one sleeve, which I'm trying not to unravel too much. I'm trying to record the process because I didn't watch a tutorial, and I thought it would be fun to like experiment trying to take this apart without having any sort of background or like expertise of what I'm doing. So I just sort of like have seen a few things, heard a few tips, and then finally I was like, all right, I'm gonna go for it. Didn't actually do any thorough research on my own, which is a good and bad thing. I think it's entertaining, but at the same time, it took a while to really get it going. And yeah, so that's pretty much the only other work in progress that I have. Again, not on the needles yet. I don't even know if it will be on the needles by the end of May, and that's when her knit along ends, which is disappointing to me, but I really wanted to get my Luna tea started because I'm absolutely loving that. And I'm also knitting that for another knit along, which I completely forgot to mention. This one is being hosted by Carson and whoever is behind Birch and Lily. I cannot remember for the life of me, but I'll put it on the screen. I'll also put what the knit along is called, and I was really inspired by it because I wanted to knit with this yarn, and the whole thing about their make along was knit with a special skein in your stash. Like, yarn is supposed to be made with, it's supposed to be loved and taken care of, and worn and enjoyed. It's not necessarily meant to sit and look pretty in our stash, even though that there's nothing wrong with that, but it was really focused on using those special skeins that we just can't bring ourselves to open and use yet, out of like, it's not the perfect project. So I do think the Luna Tea is absolutely beautiful for my project, and I am just loving it. That is all the work in progresses that I have. Now I have some fun little acquisitions. So if you watched some previous videos, you saw that I went yarn shopping and I picked up these beautiful Caron blossom cakes. So she is absolutely beautiful and so soft and fluffy, and I cannot wait to knit with it. I don't know what I'm gonna make, guys. It's a worsted weight, which is a little bit larger than what I typically knit with, but it's so pretty. So it's a chainette construction. Let me see if I can show you here. This is a chainette construction, and there's blown yarn in it. I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that like the chainette is kind of what holds all these fibers together. And it's definitely a summer yarn, so it's super breathable, and it has 61% cotton and 39% acrylic is what it is composed of. So I think it's a good summer yarn. That's why I got it. It's, what are they called? The blossom cakes. Yeah, so that one still has the label. Here's this one. And if you're curious, it does have quite a bit of yardage, if I remember. It's an 8-ounce cake, and it's got 227 grams, 481 yards, or 440 meters. So I have about 800-ish then. Like, okay, I have like 960, give or take. So a decent amount, but I might want a third. I loved this color. This was the really pretty pink and grays. I actually got inspired by it from Carly, or Carson, why do I keep calling her Carly? From Carson's podcast. I got really inspired, so I decided to go and get it. They did have a really pretty like peach kind of colors where it was super subtle and spring-like, but it was in more of a peach theme, which I also was pretty tempted, but ultimately went for the pink. So that is some new yarn in my stash, and I almost forgot about this one. So this is 100% cotton, and it's by Big Twist, and this is just, it was kind of on the side aisle. I think they're really more so kind of similar to like Dishy from Knit Picks, I think is what it is. Might be Pearl Soho, I don't know. But like that's what I think it's compared to. And it's again a worsted weight, and this was in the color beige, so super basic. And I lied, it's 85% cotton, 15% polyester. I'm curious to see how it'll knit up. I don't know what I'm gonna make with it, but it was on sale and I got 4. So I have 132 meters per skein, or 144 yards. It's a 2.65 ounce or 75 grams. So not a ton of yardage, but enough to probably make something. Maybe I'll make another bag. I don't know if I will make a t-shirt or a shirt, because what I realized was I'm very, very picky when it comes to short-sleeved knitted items. I have to really be in love with it to want to make it. And there's just something about them. I don't have a lot of like that type of clothing in general in my wardrobe. So we'll have to see if I decide to. I love the Luna tee, but it took me forever to find that pattern, and I was so happy when I did. I was originally going to knit the Tolsta, and when that came out, I just like, I wasn't disappointed, but I wasn't like wowed. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than, like, I don't know, there was a lot of hype going into it, and I think that was part of my own reason, is I had way too much hype in this going into it. So when it came out and I saw all of the projects, I just sort of started to get discouraged. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait on the Tolsta. I love this other one. I'm going to go for it. So we will see if I recircle back to the Tolsta, but I'm loving the Luna tee. Okay, that's all the yarn acquisitions that I have. I do have a few other things. So like I said earlier in the video, I ordered some new needles so that way I can actually knit socks correctly. And here I have my 2.5mm needle, which I even double checked because I was not about to start knitting with these and find out in 8 months that they are a 3.0mm. And then I picked up another cable to go along with it. I'm really loving growing my own Chalgu set rather than buying the set all together. And I was talking to my husband about it too. I was like, I have a set of bamboo needles that I was gifted from his mom, and I love them. I use them for everything. They do start to get like dull and worn on the tips, especially my 4mm and my 4.5. I use those quite a bit. So, and you can really tell because one will be like really nice and new, and then the other one will be like dull and like a 1/4 of an inch shorter than the other. So you know which one I knit with in my right hand. But I got some Chalgu ones because, well, again, I wanted to have the right size for socks, but I'm loving growing my own set. So when I told him like I could buy a set and like spend a fortune right away, but then have all those needles, or I can just buy them as I need them, and then eventually I have my own set and I don't have needles that I don't use, which I currently have in the bamboo set that I have. Like, I'm pretty sure everything from like a 6mm onward I never use. So, no, I'm not saying that I won't ever not need them, but because I have them, I don't necessarily need them in a metal needle. I'd rather have more needles for like garments and socks and things that I actually knit quite frequently. So I just got these, and I did a 30-inch or 75cm cable, which I didn't have one yet. So I was like, why would I buy another of the same cable like I did before? I don't know. So I grabbed a different one. And then yeah, just the regular 4-inch. I like the 4-inch size of their 1.5 US 1.5 2.5mm needle. So happy with those. And then I impulsively bought this beautiful thing. So this is the Japanese Knitting Stitch Bible, which I have heard really great things about. I believe I saw it originally from Kutaba Kika on her channel, and she used this to get inspiration for different patterns that she's made, and then I'm pretty sure she used it pretty heavily when she made her wedding dress, which was just gorgeous. And I just have absolutely loved looking at these and just really seeing such intricate, beautiful designs. Like, let me show you one that I was absolutely blown away with. Like this one here. That is so cool. I love that. I want to make something like that. I've wanted to do like a knitted type of wave. I just think that'd be so pretty. And I haven't even gone through all of them, but they're so beautiful, guys. And I really would love to make my own patterns and get into pattern designing, but I know a lot of that comes with certain skills and knowing certain intricate stitches. But I feel like having this just gives me a really good reference, and like, again, they're just beautiful. Like this pattern here, this one kind of reminds me of like a diagonal, hexagonal, sort of like the, what was it called? I don't think it's the Elizabeth cardigan. I'll put on the screen what I'm thinking of. I can't remember, but it kind of reminds me of that pattern, and I just am blown away. Again, I'm really excited to learn these. I think it's a good skill to have. Like, just absolutely beautiful. And I just love it. Yeah, I just love it. Well, there you have it. That is what I have for you guys. And of course, the lighting changed because I cannot get my camera to stay in the same type of lighting throughout the whole video, but whatever. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and it being a little bit all over the place. I have been so busy with so many different things, so I'm glad I finally had some time to just sit down and record the last half of this, and I cannot wait to show you what else I have going on. So if you liked the video, please leave me a like and a comment below. Let me know what you guys have been up to in knitting. I miss chatting with you and seeing you, so I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy knitting. See you on the next one. Bye!